Grace and peace, lovely people. This is Straight Up with Nate, and I'm Nate. So let's get right into it. Let them talk! Now, why do I call it Let Them Talk? So we've all have gone through moments and times where, we've dealt with people who don't like us or don't like our features, don't like who we are, where we're going. But the reason why I say let them talk is because this is just an encouragement to every single person who's dealt with, I don't want to simply say a hater or somebody who just simply doesn't like you. This is just to, let's say, overall, let people talk. It is what it is. You're not in control of what people feel, what people do, what people think, and things of that nature. You are only responsible for you. To get right into it, I'm going to touch into a couple of points. I'm going to bring up a couple of verses. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, so on and so forth. We're just going to get right into it. All right, cool, great. The first one is, you are not responsible for others' feelings. The verse that is coming out of is Matthew chapter 12, verse 36, which it says, I tell you, on the day of judgment, people will give an account for every careless word they speak. Now, let me break that down why I use that particular verse. So for me, we've all dealt with people where they feel some type of way towards us, or they feel bad, or they feel this, they feel that, so on and so forth. Great. You have to understand that you are not responsible for what people think, what people perceive, what people understand, and so on and so forth. You are only responsible for you. You could be the kindest person, you could be the most loving person, you could have the greatest of intentions. There will always be that one person with a red pen. At the end of the day, I think it's important to really understand the distinction that, nobody is perfect, nobody's going to, not make mistakes, nobody's going to do everything correctly. But the best thing you can do for you is always make sure that you're doing what needs to be done, which is you're on time, you're handling your business, so on and so forth. That's all I can say on that matter. So at times, some people will feel some type of way because you do what you're supposed to do. You handle your business. You're on time. You don't do what you think should be done. You do what needs to be done. And that you gain favor from either a supervisor, you gain favor from friends, you gain favor from, young people, you gain favor from, classmates, and so on and so forth. And so I think a lot of people tend to think that just because of that, they feel like it's okay to slander you. And so when people slander you, the best thing you can do is not even to fight back. It's just to let them be. And why I say that is because a lot of times people tell on themselves. That's a later point I'm going to touch on. But let's jump into the second point. The second point is, don't respond to slander. Now I have two verses. The verse I got is Matthew chapter 5, verse 11, which it says, Blessed are you when others revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you on my account. I'm going to break that down in a moment, but I'm going to touch on the second verse, which says in Proverbs chapter 20, verse 22, do not repay evil with evil. I'll put the whole verse down for context for that, and I'm going to just break that down. Why do I say don't respond to slander? A lot of times when people want to slander or say things about you, it's often because they're trying to invoke a response, a certain attitude, a certain type of ideal they're already trying to put out there about you. And so I think a lot of times people tend to think that because of that, they feel like they have to respond to slander, they have to answer gossip, they have to answer what people may say about them or how people may feel about them. That's not your job. You're not supposed to respond to slander. You're not supposed to respond to how people feel about you. That's not your job to worry about that. Your job is to worry about how do you feel about you. And when I say let them talk, it's to really give light to the fact that you can only be responsible for what you do. And if other people don't like you, that's not your job to make them like you. It's not your job to make them understand you. It's not your job to make them even be around you. Your job is to focus on you. And when you walk through life and you're doing what you're supposed to do, you're handling your business, your job is not to sit there and worry about who likes me, who doesn't like me, who doesn't want to talk to me, this, that, and the third. At the end of the day, when it says in Proverbs, do not repay evil with evil, is because, a lot of times when you try to fight fire with fire, everybody just ends up getting burned. And that doesn't help anybody. That doesn't, resolve the issues or what your heart needs, which is peace. So I think at the same time when we have the conversation and when we discuss certain things, it's important to really understand the distinction of how to deal with slanderous people or people who gossip or things who do this. Sometimes what the best thing you can do is let your character speak for itself. Let your character come forth and let it show that you are a person who works hard. You are a person who does what they need to do. You are a person who makes sure that when it's all said and done, you did what you were supposed to do. So here's the third point. Third point is let people tell on themselves. So in Luke chapter 6 verse 45, right? It says, a person, out of the good treasures of the heart comes good things. A person, out of the bad stores of the heart comes bad. For out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speaks. So here's the thing, right? Some people don't see or know that they tell on themselves when they slander you. And the thing about it is, you can have all the people in the world who are going to support and want better for you and want so much to work out. Little do they realize that behind closed doors there are people watching. There are people who are keeping an eye out. There are people who are definitely sitting down saying, how do you really feel about so-and-so? Why do you say that about so-and-so? Why do you do that about so-and-so? And it's not so much what they say, it's also their actions too. Why do people sit quiet about certain situations that they know they need to speak about? One thing I don't do is that when something goes wrong, better yet, let me keep it 100. There were times where I did slander people. I'll be transparent. I will blow it up and I will say it for what it is. I did slander people. But I had to learn the hard way that slandering someone else, it doesn't make the other person look bad. It makes you look bad. Because now it makes it seem as though that you have a personal and genuine issue with the person. You have to come to a place to say, you know what? I'm going to let my character speak for itself. And if you are a person who is consistent, you are a person who is of true moral character, your character will speak for itself. And the people who are supposed to love you will love you. So when I say let people talk, let them talk, because at the end of the day, they don't know your struggles. They don't know what you dealt with. They don't know what you had to give up. Speaking from a personal experience, I dealt with slanderous people. And to be very, very honest, it's not easy. It ain't for the weak. It is not for the weak. But what I can say is that dealing with slanderous people, it teaches you resilience about learning that silence is deadlier than speaking. I know for a fact that at times when you're dealing with certain people, sometimes the best thing you can do is hush. Let them tell on themselves, because a lot of times when people have so much to say behind closed doors, or so much to say to their friends, so much to say in certain atmospheres, they tell on themselves in the way that they speak and what they do and how they do it, to the point where now you don't even have to say a word anymore, because now everybody who needs to know about them knows about them. I've dealt with people where, you know, in certain circumstances where I only meant the best of intentions, went behind closed doors, started talking about every single thing, started conversing about every single thing I did wrong, how I'm a bad person, how I'm this, how I'm that, and whatever it is. And you know what I did? I didn't argue with them. Reason being is because I said I'm going to let my actions speak for themselves. And because I let my actions speak for themselves, people started looking at that very same person who has so much slander to say really funny. So that's why I say, don't go back and forth with people who have so much slander about you. Let them tell on themselves. A lot of times you want to respond to them is because they're looking for your response. At times, don't even feed them that attention. Sometimes the best thing you could do is starve people of your attention. And some people, when you starve them of your attention, it bothers them. It bothers them to the point where now they want to fight you. I've dealt with people who you don't even give them the attention. You don't even waste their time looking in their direction. All of a sudden, they're ready to fight. They're ready to go down. They're ready to throw punches and things of that nature. But that only shows more about how your character is, how well you are, how well put together you are. And so at times when I say all these, is that sometimes you got to let God deal with those who slander you. Because the Bible also says, touch not mine anointed. It's not simply talking about, oh, physically touch is also how you touch people with your words. How do you impact them and things of that nature? And so in that regard, that's why a lot of times let them talk, but at the same time also give it up to God. But like I mentioned before, always trust God about certain situations and certain circumstances, because at the end of the day, if you are a person who you have a good heart, you mean well, and you only mean the best, and you're trusting God for the greatest of things, it will work out in your favor. And God will begin to remove the people who mean harm, or who are out to slander your name, and put them in a position where they have to see you for what you are, which is on a different level. The reason why nowadays I don't engage with slander, or I don't respond to slander, is because at the end of the day, it serves no value to me. It serves no purpose. It serves no reason for me to respond to the person. Why? Because at the end of the day, you're not paying my bills. I did not get married to you. I did not have to go through certain trials, and you were there. The best thing you can do, like I mentioned from the beginning of the video, let them talk. Because some people, that's all they're good for. Some people, they're all bark and no bite. Trust. You'll know the difference. You'll see it from what they are, and you'll be able to tell, all right, you ain't even worth the time. But the thing you have to understand is, for you, what do I choose to do now? Do I choose to engage with the slander? Go back and forth with people about what they say? Or do I choose to grow from it? And rather let that propel me to different places. Let people talk, because guess what? Now it puts your name out there that people are now going to be paying attention to you. Sometimes the reason why people speak about you is because you're doing something right, they can't do it. Or there was something that they wanted to do, you're doing on another level that they couldn't do it in the first place. Let's just keep it 100. So I think the important thing to really understand here is that let people talk. People are going to have anything to say anyway. Just grow. Keep doing what you got to do and be the best self that you can be. Come on. Anybody got time for that? I'm going to stop right here. If this video did encourage you, you like what you hear, you love hearing from me, things of that nature, by all means I do encourage you, like, subscribe, share, pass it on to a friend, let somebody else be encouraged, things of that nature. And by all means, I will see you next time.